So have you noticed something a little different about your midday meal lately? It feels like the old school lines between breakfast and lunch are getting super blurry. And you know what? It has almost everything to do with how we work now. Today, we're going to dive into why that traditional lunch break is kind of getting replaced by something way more flexible and, let's be honest, a lot more delicious. Brunch.
All right, let's get into it. To really get why our meal times are shifting, we have to look at the new pressures of the modern workplace. The expectations on us have changed dramatically. They demand this really unique blend of leadership, flexibility, and thinking ahead that you're seeing pop up everywhere in our culture. First up, there's this incredible pressure for supportive leadership. Yeah, it's not enough to just give orders anymore. Today's leaders, they're expected to really nurture their teams, to always be listening, to be available, especially in these super collaborative jobs. The whole focus has really shifted from just commanding people to connecting with them. And then boom, it's all about flexibility and communication. A huge part of modern work is being able to adapt, right? To be ready to pivot at a moment's notice and just stay constantly plugged in. Seriously, the days of sitting in your own little silo doing predictable tasks, yeah, those are disappearing fast. And finally, there's this demand for patience and what they call mature strategy. So even in a world that's moving a million miles an hour, we're all kind of expected to be thinking 5 steps ahead, but to do it calmly and methodically. It's this constant balancing act between what's needed right now and the long-term vision. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, we're facing a work culture that basically demands everything all at once. Be a supportive leader, be constantly flexible, and have this amazing strategic foresight. It is a lot to handle. Sound familiar at all? So how in the world do we cope with all of this pressure? Well, we adapt. And one of the most interesting ways we're adapting is happening right on our plates. We're actually changing our daily habits to fit this new super dynamic rhythm of work, which, you guessed it, brings us to the rise of a new favorite meal. Our work schedules have turned into this puzzle. It's like a complex word search of meetings and deadlines and flexible hours. That rigid 9-to-5 structure is definitely fading out, especially for younger people in creative and digital jobs. So the real question is, how do you fit traditional meal times into a totally non-traditional day? Well, you find a solution that's just as flexible. And enter brunch. It's not quite breakfast. It's not quite lunch. It is the perfect meal for a generation whose work-life boundaries are just as blended. It is literally the answer to the puzzle. And you gotta understand, this isn't just about being hungry at 11 a.m. No, this is driven by huge cultural shifts. Flexible work means we're starting our days later. We're also way more health conscious, looking for balanced meals that keep our energy stable. And come on, let's be real, the aesthetic on social media makes it part of this super desirable lifestyle. This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. Brunch isn't just food, it's a statement. In a world that demands constant productivity, taking the time for a relaxed, enjoyable midday meal, that's an act of reclaiming your personal time. It's all about creating a more humane pause in a crazy hectic day. Okay, so we've talked about the why, now let's get to the best part, the what. What exactly makes up the perfect brunch plate that has everybody so obsessed? Let's take a look. The absolute beauty of brunch is its variety. On one hand, you might be craving something super hearty and savory, like this incredible croissant sandwich, just packed with fluffy scrambled eggs and cheese. But then again, you could go for something sweet and totally indulgent, like a giant stack of fluffy pancakes just dripping with fresh berries and maple syrup. And the choices don't stop there. Brunch is perfect because it caters to all these different needs. If you're feeling a little more health conscious, a vibrant salad with some grilled chicken might be exactly what you need. But if you need some serious fuel for the rest of your day, a satisfying teriyaki chicken rice bowl, that gives you that perfect balance of carbs, protein, and veggies. Now, as absolutely perfect as all that food looks, the story of brunch isn't really complete without looking at the other side of the menu. There are some real-world complexities, some economic realities that come along with this super popular lifestyle choice. Yeah, behind every single beautiful plate of brunch, there's a whole story of ingredients and prep and business. That curated cafe experience, the high-quality ingredients, the relaxed vibe, that often comes with a higher price tag than, just a standard meal. This right here, this perfectly captures the brunch balancing act. On one side, it's this powerful lifestyle symbol. It's a social media post that screams, "I have my life together." But on the other side is the financial reality.
It's a luxury and it requires some conscious spending, which forces a lot of us to find that balance between treating ourselves and, managing our budget.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. When we put all these pieces together, the pressures of modern work, the delicious food, the social status, and the cost, what does our whole brunch habit really say about us?
And this brings us to a really critical question. Is all of this just a passing trend, a fad that's going to fade away? Or is brunch the new normal? Is it a permanent fixture in our culture that just reflects a fundamental shift in how we live and how we work? As we start to wrap up, let's just consider one final thought. Because beyond the food and the photos and the finances, the rise of brunch might just be pointing to the one thing we're all really searching for in our hectic lives. And maybe that's the answer. Brunch, at its very core, is all about finding a middle ground, right? It's not breakfast or lunch. It's not just work or just leisure. It's a delicious, tangible symbol of our generation's constant search for balance in a world that's pulling us in a million different directions. And that's something we're thinking about.